ahead, Keri. Go ahead, Keri. Go ahead, Keri. Tell her like it is, boy. Ah.
So, unfortunately, here in the great US of A, we've had another tragedy involving law enforcement. And as much as I like to keep the show as lighthearted as possible, I've always wanted the Keri's Corner radio show to be an escape from current events, since current events usually suck.
Thank you.
All the time, globally. I don't know when did it transition from news always having to be bad. I don't know, but anyway. But at any rate, yeah. So today's Keri's conversation is probably not to anyone's surprise, and KeVaughn, you did submit some great topics. Unfortunately, we have to keep it real. Like, life is happening, right? So what are your thoughts on the Tyre Nichols case in Memphis, Tennessee? I'm pretty sure there's not a single person in this country that doesn't know about the Tyre Nichols case and the 5 black officers involved. And from what I heard, another officer, a white officer, was involved. That's what I heard. There's 6 people. I'm going to be honest. I heard about it just like everybody else. I told myself I was going to do my due diligence and do whatever research I needed to do to answer this question, because I really didn't want to hear it. He's dead. The cops are dead wrong. And I don't really want to see the film. I don't really want to do a whole bunch of... Just, you know what I mean? So, unfortunately, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I know the bare minimum, and quite frankly, that's enough. So, what we're going to do, we're going to start with Andre Jones. He always has a very interesting opinion on racial issues and sexual, it's just everything. So, what are your thoughts on the Tyre Nichols case, Andre Jones?
Okay, I'll just keep this brief since I don't want us to get canceled. Honestly, I saw a lot of that video.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you this right now. I know what a hit looks like. And
Okay.
that was a hit.
Okay, so you believe that
was personal.
It was targeted.
That was personal.
Okay.
That was.
So you believe that either the cops had a vendetta or somebody may have, I don't know, hired the cops to...
Yeah, but here's the problem that I'm noticing is that the way he was interacting with the police while this was happening,
Okay.
it seems as if he knew either one of a few
Okay.
of them or all of them.
Okay.
It looked, I don't know.
It looked personal.
I looked at it, it looked personal.
Okay.
There's what they did to some other people, which was still wrong, but
Yeah.
this, not only was it wrong, this was personal.
What about charges? Like, did what was he being charged with?
Charges.
No.
All right, they pulled him over, but how they pulled him over, that's not a pullover. They signaled for the people to go over.
Okay.
No, they went behind him and ran up on him at a stop sign like they were going to jack him.
Okay, so it wasn't even like a red light. Okay, all right. I don't know. Paul Dorso, what are your thoughts on the Tyre Nichols case in Memphis, Tennessee?
Yeah, it's very sad that this always is happening, it feels like, with police brutality. But
Yeah.
according to the station manager, she just called me out, and she was saying that it was personal,
Oh.
that one of the officers knew the Tyre.
Wow. Shout out to Jen for contributing that information.
Something with like a baby mama and an ex at a FedEx place, and that he sent the pictures to the ex after they beat him up.
Okay. So
But I don't know how verified that is.
So you're allegedly using your government's issued power to settle a personal score. Okay. All right.
Be the first time.
I think there's no doubt that the police probably have too much power and they abuse it.
Well, yeah.
And there's got to be some sort of reform because the system's just not working. And I do feel badly, like it is a really scary job, but there's just too many guns on the street. Like, you're going to be afraid. Like, there's 300 million guns in this country. So there's a lot of issues that I think are at play with the whole thing.
Yeah, well, being a fireman is a dangerous job too, but it's very rare that they go and commit crimes. So, I mean, there are a lot of dangerous jobs. And I've always said, look, when you signed up for it, you knew what you were getting into. I don't have a lot of sympathy for the whole, you don't understand what it's like to be an officer. Well, you signed up for it, dude. Like, you know, put on.
The training needs to be a lot better. What is it,
Yeah.
like 6 months? It should be like 2 years, and like you should be getting special training to just even carry a gun. Like, they don't carry guns in the UK.
Right, exactly.
But then again, there's not an extreme gun problem in the UK.
Yeah. Well,
No, they got knives.
KeVaughn, Merrill, what are your thoughts on the Tyre Nichols case in Memphis, Tennessee?
Yeah, so I did watch the whole video, and what strikes me first is that it's a shocking event, but it's not as unusual as we would want it to be. It's not. The behavior that we see from cops acting like, a gang, running up on someone, pulling him out because he was looking like he was driving erratically, even though there's no evidence of that. And then pulling him out of his car, terrifying him, he runs off. It was horrific to see, but it's not an interaction. Yeah, it's not an interaction that I was surprised to see, and that's really bad. Yeah. These are people that are supposed to be protecting the public, and they're regularly terrorizing it.
Right.
That's a system problem.
You'll probably be shocked to know that I don't have an answer. I think I'm gonna just pass because what is I think first of all you guys hit the nail on the head with your opinions. I don't really have anything to say. I think that so they've been charged, the officers. Right. They've been fired, the officers. Dre and I were talking about this on the way in, but convictions and even sentencing are a long way off, okay? And I'm gonna I do have an opinion, all right? Just because an officer is charged and even just because an officer is convicted and sentenced, that doesn't mean a lot, because I distinctly remember an officer here in New York City, an Asian guy, shooting a young man in a housing project in Brooklyn, getting charged and convicted and sentenced to probation. Mm-hmm. He murdered the guy flat out. He was, if I remember correctly, the Asian guy was afraid because he was in the hallway of a public housing project. Right. Well, hey, Mr. Asian guy, you probably should not have that job. And the Asian American community in New York City was livid because the Asian cop was even charged. Their position was, you're only charging him because he's Asian. So when he did get charged and when he did get convicted, first of all, the Asian community in New York, they lost their minds, like how dare you arrest one of ours? But at the end of the day, the man got probation. So that's why I get that the 5 guys in Memphis got charged. Until sentencing, I'm not even gonna act like I'm excited or I'm not. I'm sorry, because 9 times out of what happened with the one officer that went to prison for killing the guy out in Minneapolis. I mean, he's looking at appeals right now. I'm not saying that he's going to get one, but his lawyer is trying to appeal. This country is disgusting. If we as citizens did a fraction of what these officers do on a regular basis, we'd all be thrown under the jail. So anybody that's out there thinking that these officers are going to really get punished to the fullest extent of the law, that means you haven't been living in this country that long. Right. Period.
Keri's on a wheel, show you just what you were made of.